Galactic Classified: Why Aliens Now Fear Human Gravity. Our civilization has mapped 12 galaxies. We've developed technology beyond imagination, contacted thousands of species, and somehow still managed to completely misunderstand basic physics when it came to humans. The irony is not lost on me. 3 days ago, our flagship Democracy's Light arrived in Earth's orbit carrying our most prestigious diplomatic team. We were confident, perhaps excessively so, in our superior evolution. After all, we had encountered hundreds of species from low-gravity worlds before. Their fragile bones and weak muscles were always evident. We had protocols for handling their delicate nature. What we failed to consider, and this is where our renowned scientific arrogance truly shines, was that evolution on a high-gravity world might produce something entirely different. Something our standard protocols were not prepared to handle. Commander Rex Brigg stood proudly in the United Nations chamber. With 3 advanced degrees in xenobiology and a reputation for successful first contacts, he felt more than qualified to handle these primitive gravity-bound creatures. He cleared his throat, adjusted his translator, and promptly destroyed centuries of diplomatic protocol in exactly 6 words. "How do you even stand up here?" A murmur rippled through the human delegation. The UN Secretary-General raised an eyebrow, her pen pausing mid-note. Commander Brigg, completely missing these warning signs, continued his carefully prepared speech. "Your achievements are remarkable, considering your evolutionary disadvantages. We, the Galactic Federation, extend our protection to your species. We understand the challenges of developing under such crushing gravity. Why, just walking to this podium must have been exhausting for you." The UN military attaché, General Maria Rodriguez, stood up. The commander would later describe her smile in his report as terrifyingly similar to that of a Xenian hunting cat. "Commander," she said, her voice carrying across the suddenly silent chamber, "are you suggesting we are physically weak?" "Not at all." Commander Brigg raised all 4 of his hands in what he thought was a reassuring gesture. "We simply acknowledge your limitations. On our worlds you would practically float. We recommend against visiting. Your fragile bones might not handle our advanced exercise equipment." What followed has been viewed 47 billion times on the Galactic Information Network. A moment that would redefine everything we thought we knew about interspecies encounters. In my personal opinion as Admiral, had Commander Bro stopped after the initial diplomatic meeting, we might have salvaged some dignity. Unfortunately, he then made the critical error of sending a formal complaint to the Galactic Science Division. He demanded an investigation into what he called obviously artificial gravity manipulation by the humans. This led to the next phase of our humiliation. General Maria Rodriguez, a former arm wrestling champion during her college years, was present during the initial encounter. The commander's voice can be clearly heard saying, "Ah yes, your primitive arm wrestling competition. I accept, though I must be gentle with your limitations." What happened next would be viewed as a defining moment in interstellar relations. The next 30 seconds showed General Rodriguez demonstrating exactly why humans from a high-gravity world should never be underestimated. The commander's startled squeak as his arm was instantly pinned became the most popular ringtone in 3 sectors. "Best 2 out of 3, the commander squeaked, his pride overwhelming his judgment. "I was merely unprepared for your unexpected strength," he protested. The general's smile only widened. "Better idea," she suggested. "Let's have a friendly pull-up competition, unless you are worried about your fragile bones." The resulting video of Commander Bree struggling to complete a single pull-up, while General Rodriguez casually did 5 one-handed pull-ups, went viral faster than a quantum virus. The Galactic Information Network crashed 3 times from the traffic. The commander's final words before fleeing the chamber became the official motto of the human delegation to the Galactic Federation. This violates several laws of physics. Our civilization, which had mapped 12 galaxies and contacted thousands of species, had been comprehensively humiliated by a single arm wrestling match. And this was only the beginning of our embarrassment. Our next humiliation came courtesy of our chief xenobiologist, Professor Lark Stormwind, who decided to prove humans were using technology to cheat. Professor Stormwind arrived on Earth with 2 quantum computers, 3 gravity meters, and an unshakable belief in her own superiority. She was absolutely certain she would expose the humans' gravitational trickery. After all, she had written the definitive text on low-gravity species adaptation. She set up her laboratory in the newly established Galactic Embassy, surrounded by enough equipment to analyze a small moon. Her first mistake was inviting a group of human scientists to observe her experiments. Her second mistake was betting her entire research grant that she could prove they were using artificial gravity enhancement. "Your bone density readings are impossible," she announced, tapping her gravity meter with growing frustration. "According to these measurements, your skeletal structure should have collapsed under its own weight. You must be using some form of biological enhancement." Dr. James Chen, the lead human researcher, looked up from his coffee cup. "Have you considered that your baseline assumptions might be wrong?" "Nonsense," Professor Stormwind thought. She adjusted her equipment and activated a holographic display showing a model of human bone structure under Earth's gravity. The simulation showed the skeleton immediately crumbling. "See," she proclaimed, "completely impossible. You cannot fool science." Dr. Chen simply sipped his coffee. "Interesting simulation. Mind if we check your input parameters?" After exactly 47 seconds, Dr. Chen cleared his throat. "Professor, you seem to have based your calculations on the bone density of low-gravity species and simply scaled up the mass. That's not how evolution on a high-gravity world works. What happened next has been classified at the highest levels, but I can reveal that it involved Professor Stormwind attempting to prove her theories by challenging a human grandmother to a weightlifting contest. Mrs. Patricia Raleigh, age 67, was in the middle of her daily workout routine. The resulting video, titled "Alien Scientists Get Schooled by Grandma," showed Mrs. Raleigh deadlifting 4 times the professor's calculated maximum possible weight for any carbon-based life form. Professor Stormwind's repeated cries of "This defies all known physics" can be heard clearly in the background. Her final research paper, "A complete reassessment of everything I thought I knew about gravitational biology," is now required reading at the Galactic Science Academy. Her concluding line, "In retrospect, perhaps we should have asked more questions and made fewer assumptions," has become the unofficial motto of our xenobiology department. And so, another pillar of our scientific understanding came crumbling down. The true culmination of our scientific humiliation was yet to come, courtesy of Lieutenant Nova Blake and what would become known as the Gym Incident. Lieutenant Blake considered herself the pride of the Galactic Federation's athletic division. She had won the Interplanetary Fitness Championship 3 years running and could outperform most species in standard gravity competitions. This made her the perfect candidate to restore our reputation after previous incidents. The Earth's International Olympic Committee had graciously invited us to participate in a friendly athletic exhibition. Lieutenant Blake volunteered immediately, confident she would prove that our previous representatives had simply been unprepared. She spent 2 weeks preparing what she called a stunning demonstration of superior alien fitness. The event was broadcast live across both Earth and Galactic networks. Lieutenant Blake strode into the Olympic training facility wearing our most advanced performance suit, designed to enhance natural abilities by 300%. She approached the human athletes, who were dressed in what she described as primitive fabric coverings. "I understand there have been some misunderstandings about relative physical capabilities," she announced to the cameras. "Today, I will demonstrate proper athletic technique for your benefit. Who would like to attempt to match my performance?" A human stepped forward. Tom Martinez, age 19, was a first-year college student who worked part-time at the facility's smoothie bar. He was, as Lieutenant Blake noted in her report, suspiciously unconcerned about the challenge. The lieutenant began with what she considered a basic warm-up, a one-handed handstand while reciting the Galactic Constitution. The human observers watched politely. Tom, finishing his protein shake, casually asked, "That's the warm-up? Cool. Mind if I try?" What followed was not just a demonstration, but what Earth's social media would call an absolute demolition. Tom matched every one of the lieutenant's feats while adding what he called some basic parkour. The video shows Lieutenant Blake's expression shifting from confidence to confusion to outright panic as Tom casually performed increasingly complex gymnastics routines. "But my suit enhances strength by 300%, she protested as Tom did a triple backflip. "Oh, is that what that fancy outfit does?" Tom landed perfectly. "I am just wearing regular gym clothes." The lieutenant, desperate to regain control, moved to the weightlifting area. She loaded the bar with what their calculations indicated was an impossible weight for humans to lift. Tom glanced at the weight and frowned. Are you sure you want to start with just that? I usually warm up with more." The next sequence was viewed so many times it briefly overloaded the Galactic Information Network's main servers. Lieutenant Blake, straining with all her enhanced might, managed to lift the weight chest high. Tom, while making a TikTok video with his free hand, lifted the same weight with apparent ease. "How is this possible?" The lieutenant's voice hit a pitch previously unknown to their species. "Your planet's gravity should make this impossible." Tom looked genuinely confused. "Oh, right. You guys aren't from around here. This is just normal Earth stuff." Before anyone could stop him, Tom proceeded to break 16 Galactic Street length records while explaining his workout routine to his social media followers. The event concluded with Lieutenant Blake sitting on a bench, questioning everything she knew about physics, while Tom demonstrated one-finger push-ups to a growing crowd of impressed alien observers. Her final words before requesting immediate retirement became the most popular quote in galactic sporting history. "Perhaps we should have researched Earth gravity more thoroughly." But the true impact of these incidents wasn't just social media humiliation. It forced a complete overhaul of our military training protocols. The humiliation of our finest officers finally prompted the Galactic High Command to take decisive action. The newly formed Committee for Human Interaction Protocols gathered to create what would become known as the Don't Challenge Humans Directive. First came the gravity testing requirements. Every officer assigned to Earth duty must now complete the reality check protocol. This involves watching all previous embarrassing incidents, signing a document acknowledging Earth's gravity levels, passing a written exam confirming they understand humans are not using technological enhancement. Commander Rex Brigg, now serving as our cautionary example, recorded mandatory training videos. His presentation, How Not to Start an Interstellar Incident, includes a frame-by-frame analysis of his diplomatic failures. The section titled, Signs Your Human Opponent is Not Actually Struggling, has saved countless officers from similar humiliation. Professor Stormwind contributed to the new protocols, though somewhat reluctantly. Her revised xenobiology textbook now includes an entire chapter called Earth, where your physics assumptions go to die. The accompanying documentary features her famous grandmother incident, complete with slow-motion replay of Mrs. Raleigh's record-breaking deadlift. Lieutenant Blake, who thankfully emerged from retirement, now heads our new Human Physical Capability Assessment Division. Her first action was to ban all impromptu strength competitions with humans. Her second action was to rewrite our entire first contact protocol, replacing phrases like primitive species and evolutionary disadvantages with more diplomatic alternatives such as gravity-adapted civilization and please don't arm wrestle them. The diplomatic corps underwent the most dramatic transformation. All representatives must now complete the Earth simulation, attempting basic physical tasks while wearing gravity simulation suits calibrated to Earth standards. The resulting video compilations of dignified diplomats struggling to lift standard Earth objects have become valuable training materials. Perhaps the most significant change came in our military recruitment practices. We now actively seek advice from human physical trainers, though we had to first convince them we were serious about improving rather than setting up another viral video opportunity. The results speak for themselves. In the past 3 months, we have recorded 0 incidents of accidental challenges to human physical capabilities. Our diplomats have learned to appreciate Earth's gravity without commenting on it, and our scientists have finally accepted that their previous theories might have been slightly flawed. Today, the relationship between humans and the Galactic Federation has evolved into something remarkable. Our joint training programs have yielded unexpected benefits. Human athletes now coach our special forces, though we had to specifically request instructors who wouldn't film our training sessions for social media. The humans, to their credit, have been surprisingly gracious about the whole situation. They even approved our request to remove some of the more embarrassing videos from their networks, though they politely declined to delete what they call the greatest hits compilation. Looking back, I must acknowledge that our initial approach to human relations was fundamentally flawed. We assumed our advanced technology made us superior in every way. We never considered that evolution on a high-gravity world would produce advantages we couldn't match with our gadgets. True strength isn't just about physical capability or technological advancement. It's about acknowledging our mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward with humility and understanding. Though I must admit, watching new recruits try to challenge humans to fitness competitions despite all our warnings remains one of the more entertaining parts of my job. To the humans reading this report, yes, we know you are still making memes about us. We deserve it.